Today we are talking goals, in particular goals for starting a Lego YouTube channel. Hi, and welcome back to Brickanics. My name is Andy, and this is a weekly series called Building Brickanics, where I share my experiences in starting a Lego YouTube channel. So if you're interested in hearing a little bit about what it's like for someone to start a Lego YouTube channel, what are the challenges that they face, what's working, what's not working, what tools are being used, what are the goals, what are the visions, and those kind of things. If you want to follow along in that journey, which is my experience in starting this channel, hit the subscribe button and let's do it. So on last week's episode, which I'll try and link here at the top, this will be my first time doing one of those link things here at the top. Hope it works. If not, then you just saw nothing, and that's okay too. But last week was the first episode, and I shared a little bit about myself as well as kind of some of the reasons behind why I started a Lego YouTube channel. This week, we're going to talk about some goals that I have for this channel. And stick around to the end because I'm going to share an analogy, or at least I'm going to try to share an analogy that I know is going to help me keep the right frame of mind. And if you happen to be someone who's starting a channel yourself, maybe this might, help you as well. So in the interest of keeping these episodes as short and as sweet, but as on topic as possible, I'm just going to jump right in here with a few short-term goals that I have. So my first goal and the most important goal right now is to fail, and to fail big. Not to fail on purpose, and no, I don't want to fail, but quite honestly, if I'm not trying new things, if I'm not putting myself out there, if I'm not figuring out what works for me and what doesn't work for me, if I'm not going through a series of trial and error, then I'll never really find the right formula for what's going to work for me and this channel. So right now, for me, the first goal, first and foremost, is to continue trying new and different things, keep testing things to see if they work. If something does work, I'm not going to just start doing that all the time. I'm going to make note of it, like, okay, that worked well, and then try something different and see if that also works or doesn't work or might work better. So the first goal is really just to keep creating, keep making videos, keep trying different types of videos, keep trying different types of, editing tricks, editing techniques, keep trying to push myself to make better content, both on the technical side of things, but just also on the idea behind the video and what it is that we're doing. The second goal that I have, and these are short-term goals that I'm sharing here, is to establish my online presence for the brand of Brickanics. So YouTube, Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, all these different things. I want to make sure that I have that online presence established as far as the look and feel for the brand, but also I want to make sure that I understand what my online strategy is going to be for each one of those platforms, because they're different. The content you create on YouTube is different than the content you create on Instagram. It's different than how you interact with people on Twitter. So I need to figure out what's going to work for Brickanics on each one of those platforms and how I'm going to use those platforms to interact with the community and to build a community within each one of those platforms. Because one thing I know for sure, if all I'm going to do is take all of my YouTube content and spill it over onto Instagram, Twitter, and Facebook, those platforms are not going to thrive and they're not going to grow because they're different. So I need to figure out what my online presence is for each one of those different platforms. And the final real piece to establishing that online presence is to build my website. So I use WordPress for building websites. I've built a lot of websites, and I'm not like a professional website builder or anything like that. I just prefer to do it. I thought about Squarespace, but at the end of the day, I don't want all of my content and everything that I do to be on Squarespace and to be owned by Squarespace, because you cannot take your stuff, your site from Squarespace, and do your like own thing with it, it belongs to Squarespace. So if you want to start a website that belongs to you, that's completely 100% under your control, then I like to do that on WordPress. And it does take a little bit of a learning curve. I'm not going to lie there, but it's not as hard as you might think to get started. And there's plenty of materials online and tutorials to kind of teach you how to do that. But my goal is to finish my website so that all of the different social media channels that I have out there are all pointing back to my website, and my website becomes my hub for my brand. And then it's kind of all feeding off of each other as far as all the different platforms that are available. So those are my first two goals: to keep trying new things, to keep failing, to keep growing, and two, to kind of round out and finish building my online presence. My third goal, my third short-term goal, which kind of feeds into the first goal of failing really, is to get really proficient and competent with all the different tools that I use. I'm okay, but I'm far from being an expert. I haven't mastered my camera, for instance, right? So I want to just master all the different tools that I use so that I don't have to focus as much on what I'm doing as far as figuring out my camera or my editing software. I can just focus solely on the content, and everything else kind of becomes second nature. So really for me, it's just to continue learning how to use the tools that I use. In particular, I use DaVinci Resolve. So that is the editing software that I use. It's a very powerful software, and the best part is it's free. DaVinci Resolve is awesome. So I started out on Adobe Premiere Pro, but that's a paid service. And also I actually like DaVinci Resolve a little bit better than Adobe. That's why I kind of switched from Adobe over to DaVinci Resolve. But that's a really good program. And so I'm okay with it. I'm still learning how to do different things on it. But I will take classes on Udemy. If you're not familiar with Udemy, it's a kind of an online Skillshare or something like that, where you can just take different courses. So that would be one thing that I would do, is continue taking courses and continue to learn how to make really good content. Making good content might be a hint to the analogy I'm going to share here coming up. So stick around for that for sure. All right, let's start transitioning maybe a little bit into the long-term goals. So this next one really is a short-term and a long-term goal, but it's to continue growing my Lego collection. And in particular, I need to grow my piece count, right? I don't have much Lego at all to sit here and build something. All of my Lego really exists within sets. Me and my son, we just have a bunch of Lego sets, but I'm not willing to break those apart to build something else with them, at least not at this point. I just like the sets too much. So I'm slowly building up the piece count through Bricklink and Lego. However, Pick-a-Brick is experiencing some delays. Obviously the pandemic and everything, but it's taking them 4 or 5 weeks to get orders out, and some of this stuff is even on back order at times. So I got a mock project that I'd like to get started on, but I don't have the pieces, so I'm just waiting for those to come in. So my short-term and continuing goal is to continue adding sets to the collection, but also increasing my piece and parts count so that I can get into building more mock projects. And I believe that's a good tie-in to my second long-term goal. If you wanted to get an idea of what maybe my long-term vision for how this channel might actually look, like if you were to say to me, Andy, in 1 year from now, what kind of content would you want this channel to be about? I would say that primarily I would like to be focused on small, medium, and large size mock projects. I think for me, that's what Lego is all about. It's about building things from your imagination and using the pieces and parts of Lego itself to just design and create. That's what I want to do. That's what I'd love to be this channel to kind of have a strong focus on once I obviously have the pieces to do that. So kind of the two long-term goals there: build up the parts count, and then kind of slowly transition the channel to start featuring more and more mock projects. We're going to be moving in about 6 months. So kind of another long-term goal and vision that I have is to have a space in the basement where I can have a Lego room that's dedicated to building Lego. So I'd like to have, a Star Wars mock table where we continuously build different mocks for Star Wars. I'd like to have the studio set up, with the stuff behind, like a little bit of a scenery in the back to have better videos than this. So you're not looking at a lamp and, a stroller and different things behind me. And I'd like to have another table dedicated to Lego City and building that out. I think Mason would just love having, Lego City to be able to go and play in and do that kind of thing. So that's kind of long-term vision. So I think we'll get there. We'll get there slowly but surely. All right. So what's this hype that I've been building for this last little goal here? And I think it's probably the most important one. I mean, yeah, I said failing was the most important, and it is, because it kind of, all these things kind of tie in together. But hold on, I need some coffee here. There's obviously a lot of goals and a lot of things that go into starting a Lego YouTube channel. But ultimately, I need to figure out what my value is to you. People come and watch YouTube videos for a lot of different reasons. And, maybe it's entertainment. Maybe they want to come onto YouTube and just be entertained. And there's a lot of, entertainment value out there. Maybe they come to YouTube because they want news, right? And they want to get updated on stuff. And you see a lot of that in the Lego community, especially on the Star Wars side. But, just with the leaks and everything like that, you can get plenty of news. So people come to YouTube for that. But people also come to YouTube to learn. And that's in particular where I find myself coming to YouTube mostly, is to learn something new, something I didn't know before. So for me, it's continuously working to figure out what my value, my ultimate value is going to be to you. I'd love for you to be entertained, and I would love for you to be able to learn something by the content that I'm creating. So that's what I'm working towards. And I think that's something that I see a lot of people struggling with. I'm new to Lego. I'm new to the Lego community. So I don't necessarily 100% know what I'm talking about. So take everything I say with a grain of salt, right? But I see a lot of people focused on growing their audience before they have their value figured out. And that's a huge mistake in my opinion, because I just think it's a waste of time, really. Think of it this way, and here's this analogy, right? Think about a baseball team, right? And you're a baseball owner, right? And let's say you're new to this city. Your team's new to the city. You've got a new stadium. You've got a team, right? And the first thing that you're focused on is how you can bring fans into the stadium. And you spend all your time and effort reaching out to all the fans and trying to figure out how you can get them into the stadium. But you haven't built a good team yet. And the thing that I think people need to really understand is that if you focused all of your effort into first building a great team, once you put that team on the field, the fans are going to come, right? They're going to come because they want to watch that awesome team. So my goal is to build the awesome team, because once I do, I know that I'll be able to provide a value to the Lego community that will hopefully be received well and the channel will grow on its own without me having to do a whole lot of guerrilla tactics. Guerrilla tactics are like, I see people even come on my channel like, hey, go like my channel, go subscribe to me. And I'm like, man, that's a lot of time and effort to grow one by one, which, you want to grow. I mean, I get it. I do a little bit of that myself, right? But mostly I think you just need to focus on figuring out what your value is and finding your place within the community. And I think that's important as well. So I'll add that to my goal as well. Build the team, build a great team, and then connect with the community, and find your place within the community and build relationships within the people within the community. Because if you can do those two things, I think the growth will take care of itself over time. It'll just come. I believe that if there's a good team on the field. All right, so let me go ahead and recap those goals for you. Number one is to fail. Keep trying new different things, keep failing, keep growing. Number two is to continue to establish my online presence and kind of finish building that online presence. Number three is to become proficient and competent with the tools that I'm using so that I can build that great team. Number four is to continue to build the Lego collection, but build my parts and piece count so I can get into building mocks, which is number five. Long-term kind of goal is to start getting into building more mocks and things that I feel people are interested in seeing, but something that I know I'm interested in creating. And then number six is to continue figuring out what my value is to the people that I hope will come and watch my videos. And number seven, right, is to continue to develop community and to make friendships within the community, because that's what it's all about at the end of the day. So if you haven't subscribed to the channel, please do so. Obviously it helps, and I hope that it helps you. Hit the like button if you liked anything that I had to say. Next week's all about the people who influence me and influence this channel. So, creators both in and outside of the Lego community, as well as, I'll share some of the different kind of initial early relationships that I've started, because there's some people that have been showing me a ton of support, and who I hopefully am returning that support to, that I would love to give a shout out and say thank you to. So that'll be next week. Who are the people that are influencing me? I'll share a little bit about them, and who's kind of that core little community that we're growing here. So I'll see you on the next video. Thanks for watching. Bye.